weekly budget brief from National Priorities Project. I'm Mattea Kramer. In our last brief, we were counting down the days Congress has left to put together a federal budget before the start of the new fiscal year on October 1st. It's not much time, and lawmakers face some pretty big challenges in the interim. Of course, lawmakers have such a track record of thoughtful compromise that I'm sure they'll come up with a plan before the deadline. So what are these challenges that lawmakers face? It just so happens that they all have to do with the federal budget, and that's my specialty. In fact, we have a new book out on the subject, A People's Guide to the Federal Budget. You should check it out. And our good friends over at a Committee for a Responsible Federal Budget have just released a new report on the fiscal cliff. This is a phrase that you're likely to hear in the news, so here's what it means. Fiscal cliff refers to a gaggle of federal spending cuts and tax increases that are all scheduled to take effect in January of 2013. This has been dubbed the fiscal cliff because having all of these spending cuts and tax increases happen at the same time could be pretty darn tough on the old economy. For example, there are automatic, across-the-board federal spending cuts that are scheduled to take effect that would shave about $500 billion off of military spending over a decade and another $500 billion off of non-military spending also over a decade. Now, some people argue that parts of these cuts ought to be allowed to take effect because they would reduce deficits. But the question is, should we allow all these spending cuts to take effect willy-nilly, or should we allow some of them to take effect in the near term, but push some of them off until the economy is stronger? So the question is, will Congress come up with some sort of a compromise plan to allow some of these cuts to take place, but also taking into account the effects on the economy? Well, time will tell, my friends. And there's more to this fiscal cliff than just these automatic spending cuts. So join me next week for Fiscal Cliff Part 2.